What's going on, guys? Just before we start this one, bit of a weird show, this one. We had some weird issues with the audio quality, which I'm kind of working through, but also if you're watching on YouTube, very choppy footage. We're going to go back to normal resuming those soon, so it's just this episode, so bear with it. Apologies again. Hope you enjoy the episode. It is a very quick one. Not too much to report. But we'll catch you soon. We'll be back with the, we're going to do a Turkey Day special, which you may have already listened to. And then we've got the Sunday slate with Sully ahead as well. So we'll catch you soon. Enjoy the show. What's up, Prop Nation? It's your boy John here today, back with another Thursday night preview, or I should say Black Friday preview. In this case, it is the Miami Dolphins traveling to MetLife to play the New York Jets. Man, and there's a lot going on in Jetsville at the moment. The over-under at the moment is 40.5. That's sort of traveled between 40 and 41 at the moment. And the Dolphins are favored by 9.5 points at this stage. It did get up to 10 in some spots. You can get it there if you want, but 9.5 is a pretty good number. Don't mind that at all. Should be a interesting matchup, to say the least. There's not really too much going on, but I'm sure we can find some juicy stuff to take away from the game and the props there. Thank you, everyone who's been watching along. You can like this if you're watching this on YouTube. You can subscribe as well, really helps us out, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and on TikTok. We did have our TikTok account taken down for violating something. Apparently, we've been using some people's content or something like that. I'm not sure what it was because TikTok hasn't told us, but we are back up on there. And it is all original content here, as you can see. So not sure what the issue is there, but that's all right. Let's get into the look-ahead game here between the Dolphins and the Jets. Just a couple of injuries to point out. At this stage, Tyreek Hill did leave last Sunday's game with a injury. Looks like on the injury report it says hand, and he has been limited. So we have seen him a little bit. And Devon A-Chain has also been limited in practice this week as well. Not exactly sure what's going on there. Really annoying. I did back him in a lot of spots. I had him on a lot of tickets. I thought he was going to come in. Thought we had some really good lines there, but it wasn't to be. He left fairly early on with that hand injury. So that's all right. We can still work around that, and it should be a good matchup. Let's get into it, though. Let's have a look at the look-line ahead. We'll start with the Miami Dolphins, who have actually started to piece together a fairly good run defense, which makes me fairly nervous for Breece Hall in this spot. And then the other thing we've noticed here with the Dolphins is they are starting to string a very good defense in general together, especially with the corners as well. The wide receiver ones for teams have had some success, but I got to say, since Jalen Ramsey's come back, that's all sort of started to shift and change a little bit. It was an interesting game last week with the Raiders. They have started to piece together a fairly good team as well. So here's the thing. Who's playing quarterback for the Jets? Well, it is Tim Boyle at this stage, followed by Trevor Siemian. We don't have any bets ourselves on these lines because we don't really know what's going to go on. But if I were to bet anything, I'd probably go the unders in that spot. But yeah, let's continue on with that. So yeah, like I was saying, it's going to be fairly weird to bet anything on the Jets side of the ball, whereas the Dolphins, we do sort of know what we're going to get. But as we scroll across to the Jets now, we can see it's not too much better. I mean, their defense as well is really good, despite all the issues that they're having on offense. They are still playing some good games. This is the first time the Jets and the Dolphins have matched up. We know that Tua is straight fire, and we know that Tyreek Hill is his number one boo. So what we're gonna, it's gonna be interesting because a lot of quarterbacks have struggled to have good games against the Jets. So Justin Herbert struggled. Mahomes, we remember that was kind of a weird game in itself. Has struggled. Russell Wilson couldn't get over his, but he has still had a few troubles in that spot as well. Having said that, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen and Dak all got over their passing props, and they all had good games. And Tua is more in that sort of tier. So that's where I don't actually mind backing Tua in this spot. But we'll see how we go when we get to his lines. Now, the side that I am looking at for the Dolphins is the running back. So Raheem Mostert, he could have a good game in this spot. We know that this year the Dolphins have funneled a lot of the offense through the running backs. They've utilized the running game a lot more. They've straight up not been sending out any tight ends to play the game. So it's like they're using receivers in the tight end spot. It's a really interesting thing that Mike McDaniel's going on there. Tyreek Hill, he should be good, but this wide receiver too. So the wide receiver twos have really struggled against the Jets. And so with that said, Jalen Waddle, who's also struggled this year, it could be an interesting matchup for him. We'll see how that goes though. Let's start off with the quarterbacks, and you'll see I haven't got anything on the Jets side of things to report because there will be no Zach Wilson. I kind of wish there was. I mean, this is the thing with Zach Wilson. He's always been this kind of guy who's like, I want him to do well. I always wanted him to succeed. He just can't do it. And I need to accept that and move on. And I'm starting to accept that and move on, along with lots of Jets fans. Although the Jets fans, they probably accepted that a long time ago. All right, but we will have a look at Tua for now. As you can see, he has had some very high lines. So 270 is where he's been sitting at for passing yards. He has struggled over the last few weeks leading up into the bye to cover those spreads, only doing it one time in week 8. But he did manage to do it again last week against Vegas, so had a good run there. He has been very good at the passing touchdown area. I think he leads the league so far this season in passing touchdowns. Hasn't always need to go over his pass attempt props to reach that as well. Same with pass completions as well. So it's going to be interesting. So in the games where he hasn't reached those props, they haven't needed him to pass a lot, to throw a lot. They've relied a lot on the running backs. But then in some games where it has sort of been a bit more shootout friendly, particularly when Tyreek Hill's playing well and his other receivers are playing well, even Chosen Anderson has been in the mix as well. I think I saw as well Chase Claypool is coming off an injury report. He might actually be in the mix as well. So it could be a good game for Tua. We'll see what happens there. Like I was saying, nothing to really report. So yeah, actually the prop that I might be looking at is 2 passing touchdowns for Tua. I'm not sure if I want to take the over passing yards just because we haven't really seen him do it a hell of a lot. And with that said, I don't really want to bet any of the attempts or completions either in that regard. You can maybe have a look at the attempts, but I probably feel better about the passing touchdowns prop. All right, let's jump ahead to the running backs now. And this is what I was talking about with Raheem Mostert. It's a favorable matchup for the Jets, as it seems to be at the moment. We should have some good weather as well. I forgot to mention the weather at the top of the show as well. It's going to be about 8 degrees. It's going to be cold, but there's not going to be any rain or too much wind to speak of. So Raheem Mostert's done a fairly good job, even with Achane coming back last week, who got injured early in the game, which was a bummer for us, but Raheem Mostert was still able to take it himself. I expect that they might still be easing Achane as well, and Salvon Ahmed has been playing well in lieu of that, but I don't expect him to come in and take over. We haven't really seen any of Jeff Wilson as well, even though he came back off of IR. Haven't seen much of him, so Raheem Mostert at the rushing yards, if it's sitting at about 56, I don't mind that at all. We could go over. If you see any receiving yards, if you can get up to like 20 receiving yards for Raheem Mostert, he hasn't done that since week 4, so I'd be inclined to bet the under for that one as well. On the Breece Hall side of things as well, this is what I was talking about before. He has not gone over his rushing total prop since week 5. It's been a long time, and it's not like it's been like particularly high. There's some 40s in there that he couldn't get. There's 60s and 65s of late. We know that Dalvin Cook has sort of been phased out. He kind of never caught on, but what we did see from Breece Hall was utilized a lot in the passing game, but that was with Zach Wilson. We don't know what we're going to get from Tim Boyle here. So, yeah, it just depends on how you want to go with that. You could attack that angle if you think Tim Boyle is going to be throwing to the close to the line of scrimmage. Hard to say, though. I would not be surprised if we see Trevor Siemian come in this game as well at some point. It just sort of strikes me as one of those games where the Dolphins start to blow them out, and then the Robert Saleh kind of wants to see what he's got in his other quarterbacks as well. I mean, would we even see Zach Wilson come back? Potentially. It could be one of those really, really strange games. So at this stage, Raheem Mostert over rushing yards I like, under receiving yards I like, Breece Hall under rushing yards I like. We know that the Dolphins' run defense is fairly good as well. And then receiving yards, yeah, I'd probably stay away from that. Excuse me if you hear me choking up, it is because I am dealing with a cough, but that is okay. Let's finish off with these wide receivers. We'll fly through this one as well because it is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like Tyreek Hill's going to have a good game. He could have a receiving yard prop line of 100 yards. And I think I'd still bet the over on that one. I'd actually probably go more for the receptions. The receptions has been where most of his success has been. If you can get 6.5, that's amazing. 7.5, I'm comfortable with that as well. So around 90 receiving yards and 7.5 catches, I'm fine with. Jalen Waddle, I really want to stay completely off. If anything, I'll bet the unders. If you can get like a 65 for Jalen Waddle, even a 70 if it's there, I'm keen to bet the under just because the Jets cornerbacks have been shutting down the receiver too. Durham Smythe is still dealing with an ankle injury, so I don't think we'll see any tight ends in this spot as well. So there's nothing else to report there. I don't have too much on Chosen Anderson or Chase Claypool or Braxton Berrios or all these kind of guys who come and go. Who's the other one? Cedric Wilson. They all kind of come and go. There's nothing too much there. I should add them, but we'll see how we go. Finishing off with the Jets receivers here. Garrett Wilson. Man, I would love to bet Garrett Wilson, but we just can't do it because it's Tim Boyle. It's Trevor Siemian. It might be Zach Wilson. So this is why I wish Zach Wilson was still playing because at least we could make some money off of Garrett Wilson. Damn, oh well. Alan Lazard, if there's anything there, look, I'd probably bet the under on Alan Lazard, even with Tim Boyle if you're going to bet unders there. Tyler Conklin, he was another Zach Wilson favorite as well, so staying away there. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, have a look at these stats, see what you like, make your own judgments. There's not too much to take away from it. Like I was saying, there's a couple there that I do like those, so we'll hit those with the rest of this show. Thank you. So let's finish off with our tickets. So the main ones that we were looking at, they were, I think we were going to go with Tua over 1.5 passing touchdowns. We're comfortable with that one. Raheem Mostert over 55.5 rushing yards. We're comfortable with that. Potentially, if you want to get a cheeky under in receiving, you could do that as well. Breece Hall, if he's up at like 70 rushing yards, I would be inclined to bet the under there as well. And Tyreek Hill over 6.5 catches for sure. Over 7.5, fine with. Jalen Waddle under his receiving. If it's at 65 or 70, I'm keen to go under there. And then potentially like a cheeky Alan Lazard under 35.5 or 3.5 is fine as well. Thanks. That's going to do it for the Black Friday show. Sorry, I'm losing my voice as well as we do this. We'll have more episodes for you. We are going to have, well, you will have already listened to the Turkey Day special that Sully and I are doing, as well as the Sunday slate ahead. Please like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying the content. We'll be back later. Enjoy the week of football, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.